Let's talk about something that's been frustrating a lot of Cowboys fans: the rankings. You've probably seen the usual suspects: PFF, ESPN, all with their lists and power rankings that somehow place the Cowboys in the middle of the pack, or worse. Then you see Madden, of all things, recognizing Dallas as a top team. And you start asking yourself, how does that make any sense? Here's the deal. When it comes to PFF and ESPN, they like to break things down by individual units, right? And what stood out this time was that only 2 individual players on the Cowboys cracked the top 15 in their positions. And yet somehow, the team was still listed in the top 15 overall. That math doesn't check out. Either the individual grades are off, or the team rank is. You can't have it both ways. Now Madden, sure, it's a video game, but here's what makes it interesting. They tend to recycle rosters and ratings unless something major happens. So while they might not be the most up-to-date, they also don't carry the same bias we see in media circles. Sometimes just going off raw ability and reputation might actually reflect more accurately than all the spreadsheets in the world. And let's be honest, this America's team tax that PFF keeps pushing, that's just lazy. It's a way to discount legitimate talent and hide behind the idea that Dallas always gets too much credit. But in reality, it feels like the Cowboys are constantly being held to a different standard. Higher expectations? Sure. But lower respect? That's where the fan frustration comes in. Quick question for you. Do you trust rankings from PFF and ESPN when it comes to the Cowboys? Type Y for yes, N for no. And while you're here, if you're tired of Dallas being underrated year after year, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's push back on the noise and hit 15,000 subscribers while we're at it. Now let's shift to something way more exciting: the offensive line. Specifically, this young guard duo of Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker. There's real buzz about the two possibly becoming the best interior line pairing in the league, and yeah, that's a bold statement, especially when you're talking about a second-year guy and a rookie. But the potential? It's sky high. One fan dropped a super chat saying Dallas might already have the best 2 guards in the NFL. While that might be a little early to declare, it's not completely out of bounds. Tyler Smith has already proven he can handle NFL-level talent. He's physical, nasty in the trenches, and smart, which is rare for someone his age. Tyler Booker, meanwhile, comes in with raw power and elite footwork for his size. He was training with Duke Manyweather, one of the most respected O-line developers in the game, so you know he's coming in prepared. Now, are they going to be the best in year 1 together? That's a lot to ask. And let's not forget, teams like Philadelphia still have elite linemen, even though they're replacing some pieces. But what Dallas has is a rare opportunity. If these two click and stay healthy, we're talking about a duo that could dominate for years. Another reason this matters? If the interior is solid, it takes pressure off Dak and opens up the run game in a big way. That's how you control tempo. That's how you win tough playoff games. Remember when the Cowboys had Zach Martin and Ronald Leary steamrolling people up front? This could be a return to that kind of trench dominance, and this time with a younger core. Let me throw it to you. Who do you think has the best offensive line in the NFC right now? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you believe in this young guard duo, help us get to 15,000 subscribers. Hit that sub button, and let's keep this momentum going. All right, now we need to address a topic that's gotten a lot of fans talking: the situation with Jaden Blue and how he stacks up next to Deuce Vaughn. On the surface, it looks like a battle of 2 undersized backs trying to carve out roles. But when you dig deeper, there are real differences between these two. First off, let's tackle the narrative that they're the same type of player. They're not. At the Combine, Blue measured in almost 4 inches taller than Deuce and 15 pounds heavier. That's not just a slight difference. That's significant, especially when you're talking about durability and how a back handles NFL-level contact. And more than anything else, Blue is just flat out faster. He's got explosiveness that pops on tape. He might not have the production that Deuce had at Kansas State, but he offers more upside in terms of big play potential. Now, about those rumors floating around about Jaden Blue's attitude or concerns within the organization, it's important to keep some perspective here. These guys have barely been in the building. Most rookies are still working with their private trainers through June and July. So to act like there's some major red flag before a single padded practice, that just feels like stretching a narrative to fit an opinion. It's July. We're way too early to make sweeping judgments. And honestly, it sounds like some of the concerns being floated aren't even based on direct contact with Cowboys staff. That's a red flag on the reporting, not necessarily on the player. Sometimes we confuse speculation with inside info, and that's dangerous for a young guy trying to break into the league. So I want your take. Who are you higher on right now? Jaden Blue or Deuce Vaughn? Drop your pick in the comments. And hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about Jaden Blue at this point in camp? Let's get that conversation going. And don't forget to like the video if you're hyped to see this backfield in action. Let's get into some real roster talk now. Possible veteran additions that could shift the Cowboys' depth chart overnight. Names like Noah Fant, Rasul Douglas, and Stephon Gilmore have all come up. But are any of them realistic options? Or are we just dreaming big because training camp stirs up the wish list? Let's start with Noah Fant. The talent? No doubt. He's a good football player. Reliable hands, athletic enough to stretch the field, and still young. But here's the issue. With Jake Ferguson firmly established as TE1, Fant probably isn't walking into a bigger role in Dallas than he could get elsewhere. Fant wants guaranteed snaps, maybe even a shot to rebuild his value. That's tough to do behind Ferg. So unless an injury happens, or he's willing to accept a clear TE2 role, Dallas might not be his landing spot. That said, I'd still take him. Good players make teams better. What about you? Type S for sign or P for pass in the comments. Now Rasul Douglas. If this was a few months ago, I'd say the Cowboys should be all over him. But like Fant, Douglas likely wants guaranteed playing time and maybe a bit more money than the Cowboys are comfortable offering right now. Still, he's a proven outside corner, and if an injury happens in camp, it's the kind of name Dallas might circle back to fast. Keep your eye on this one. Then there's Stephon Gilmore, a familiar face. He knows Dan Quinn's system, he's respected in the locker room, and he proved last year he's still got something left in the tank. Between him and Douglas, Gilmore might be the better fit culturally and situationally. If the front office is serious about bolstering the cornerback room, Gilmore could be that steady hand they call on in early August. Here's what I'm curious about. If you could sign just one of them right now, who would you go with? Fant, Douglas, Gilmore, or maybe none? Drop your pick in the comments and tell me why. And if you love having these realistic, straight-shooting Cowboys convos, subscribe now and help us cross 15,000. No fluff, just football. Now we need to talk about something deeper, not just personnel, but the culture at the top, specifically Jerry Jones. And look, this isn't about bashing the guy. He's done a lot for the Cowboys brand. But when you haven't been to a Super Bowl in nearly 30 years, at some point you've got to ask, what's the common denominator? There's this sense that Jerry is stuck in the late 90s, still chasing the ghost of how things were done back when the Cowboys were dominant. He still references Emmitt Smith like it's relevant to how deals should be structured today. And it's not just nostalgia, it's affecting real decisions. Contract delays, lack of urgency, unnecessary public jabs at players like Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs. It adds up. One viewer said it best. The past drives Jerry and limits the future. That hits hard because it's true. This franchise isn't poorly run. It wins regular season games. It stays in the media spotlight, but that's not the goal, right? Cowboys fans want rings. They want post-season success. And the problem is, you can't build for today if you're always trying to replicate yesterday. And when the leadership above you isn't backing the players publicly, that's a culture problem. Imagine your boss constantly taking little jabs in the press instead of standing behind you. That's not motivating. It's divisive. Great organizations don't lead like that. They empower, they protect, they adapt. And Jerry, for all his passion, sometimes struggles to get out of his own way. So let me ask you directly, do you think Jerry Jones is still the right guy to lead this franchise? Type Y for yes, N for no in the I comments. And whatever your answer, stay locked in with us this season. We're not going anywhere. Daily Cowboys news, real talk, and your voice always matters here. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and help us push past 15,000 subscribers. Let's chase a new era together.